Story now. Kevin Smith is that legal analyst, and he joins us in studio. Kevin, thanks for coming in. It's great to have you here because I think it's better for us to focus on sort of the facts around these issues, and particularly perhaps what the MK party is calling for this afternoon, which is that Senzo Mchunu should have been fired and that someone from within the executive should have been appointed as opposed to someone like Professor Feroz Kachalia, because now essentially it means we have two police ministers.
Firstly, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be in studio once again. As far as the MK party's assertions go, I think there is some merit in that. Firstly, if we think about what the president's statement was, is that the Commission of Inquiry is there to sort of give due process to what is happening. But we have seen in the past a DA minister was fired without a Commission of Inquiry actually taking place. So we do know that the president does have necessary capacity to hire and fire as he pleases. Whether internal procedures are then followed or whether those internal procedures influence him firing a minister, he's fully capable of doing so. So I do think there is some merit in what the MK party has asserted so far.
So I mean, the president, you know, we always hear the phrase, ministers serve at the pleasure of the president, and we heard that numerous times during Jacob Zuma's presidency and those late-night reshuffles. But essentially, if the president is unhappy with a member of his cabinet, he doesn't need a reason to get rid of you.
Exactly. And as far as Minister Mchunu goes, there have been reasons in the past. There have been allegations of him lying in Parliament or certain other misconduct that has come to the fore prior to this, to the allegations by General Mkhwanazi being made. So it's not as if his removal would have been without cause or without merit. Because like I've said, not only is the current situation a black mark on his tenure, but there has been others that have happened in the past as well.
Yeah, and it's not just any portfolio, is it? It's the portfolio of police in a country that struggles with rising levels of violent crime, crimes against women and children, drugs, organized crime. If the president needed any reason, there were many.
Exactly. And even to go further on that, the president at the beginning of his first term did make mention of the fact that institutions like IPID, which is the oversight institution for the police in general, that would have been fixed. That hasn't been fixed in the past 7 years. The fact that IPID is still in disarray is also a cause as to why there's so much criminality within the country. So not only would this have been an opportunity for the president to make good on some of the promises that he has made, but his past conduct has shown that there has been no effort in him actually trying to fix the institutions of accountability and the institutions of safety. So
another issue the MK party has brought up in a briefing just earlier today is that the president was premature in his announcement that acting DCJ Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga would chair the inquiry looking into corruption within the police. The MK party says there will no doubt be some kind of prejudice created because he hasn't yet retired. He will be retiring at the end of July. Do you agree with that there might be some prejudice?
Not completely. I mean, if we think of how these things had taken place when General Mkhwanazi's announcement or his press conference happened, the president was in Rio, and it was at a time when the president would not have even been awake. So there was a vacuum in a response from the presidency while the public discourse did its thing. So there were calls for the president to act not only swiftly but decisively. So I think there would have been criticism had he announced who would be chairing the commission, or if he had omitted that fact. As we are currently seeing now, the fact that an inquiry has been called for in any event has also been criticized. So I don't think the fact that the chair is retiring within the next 2 weeks, that would cause some form of prejudice. I think it was actually astute that the president had made a proclamation on who would be chairing the inquiry and who the senior counsel would be that would be assisting in that process. I think that was going to be a necessary step that needed to be taken given the time period as to which the president had to make this announcement.
An inquiry is probably the last thing anyone wants at this stage because of our history of inquiries. We spent R1 billion on the state capture inquiry. There are many, many other inquiries that have been conducted into SARS. The Nugent Commission perhaps was the most efficient of all the inquiries because it was able to put in certain reforms. But we don't have a great record of inquiries leading to arrests in the main and people being brought to justice.
That's it's actually true what you're saying. Not only if we look at the most recent inquiries, but if you look from the start of our democracy, the TRC was a commission of inquiry similar to the setups that we have today. And a lot of South Africans feel as though from that process onwards, commissions have not actually done much for the strengthening of this country. If you think about the Zondo Commission, that happened in 2018, it was given a 6-month time period at which it should have been completed in. Technically, it's still not complete to this day. The report was given in 2022, that is years after. If we think about it having not even been implemented to date, that is about 7 years post it had, the commission actually going and being established. So not only is it a sense that they don't actually come to any form of finality, but like you rightfully pointed out, the implementation of the recommendations hardly ever take effect. I mean, the president himself, when it came to the Zondo Commission, had given Parliament an implementation strategy. How far we have gone into that implementation is yet to be seen. So the public discourse, there is again some merit in the citizenry not being happy that a commission of inquiry had been called. If we think about the information that General Mchunu had placed forward, there is sufficient evidence, according to him, in order for the investigations to be central around the figures that he had pinpointed, so that a more streamlined approach could have been done for those particular allegations. The commission right now has such a wide net that when we get to the allegations being made, there's so much that has to be taken care of that would be years in the future before we even have a valid understanding of what is actually taking place.
Sure, that is shocking and sad. Yeah, if you give us the context of the state capture inquiry starting in 2018, and here we are in 2025, and what has actually been achieved, this latest inquiry does almost feel like a stalling tactic. But Kevin, let me thank you for your time. Thanks for coming in and giving us your analysis on the situation. Kevin Smith is a legal analyst as we continue to talk about the president placing the police minister on special leave. And of course, while all of this is going on, there are those hundreds of people gathered in Durban in support of Newzroom Afrika DStv.